Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden, and today we're going to be working on my front feature curve for the front yard garden. And this is an area that all my neighbors drive past. I'm on a corner, so lots of people walk their dogs, animals, and I always try to have a lot of beautiful color here, and it's mainly focused on annuals, but this year I'm going to do something a little bit different. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about this curve. Basically, I like to do some wow factor here, and usually that wow factor is done through annuals, which is so expensive, you all. And so what I've already started doing this past fall is I've started transitioning a little bit more into additional perennials. So you can see all the zinnias right here. They may look good from far away, but they're all kissed by the frost and they're not looking so great. And then I do have a summerific hibiscus that's here as a central focal point, which obviously will die back during the winter. But I'm going to start by going ahead and pulling out these zinnias, talking about what I've already added to this bed and what we're going to be adding today. Okay, first of all, I just want to talk about how happy I am with the quality of this soil. This started as native soil and I dug it up to be a garden. Of course I have grass in it, but if you have Bermuda grass, you know the struggles. And basically over the years, I've added different fertilizers, compost, nutrients, mulch, and then just look at this. It's so yummy. Now, if you dig down about 8 inches, it's going to be clay. But I will say clay used to be all the way to the surface. So I really built the quality over the last few years. And yes, it has taken years. Yes, absolutely, I'm saying years. But yeah, I'm really happy with the direction that this soil is going. But let's talk about what's in the garden and what the plants are going to be now. We've added a lot of perennials here as of late. I typically do mostly annuals. You can see I've already started some of the pansies over here. These zinnias are all going to be coming up. This is a status, so I'm going to leave that and see if it overwinters. Got a couple of gaillardia, which are supposed to be perennials in here. They've never survived for me. I've got a barberry back there, orange rocket barberry. This right here is a tropical. This is a hibiscus salsa dancer. I'm going to cut it back and move it out of the garden, so we're not going to have it here right now because I am going to try to overwinter it. But new stuff I've added this year, I divided some of my banana cream Shasta daisies and put them here. I also added in a variety of phlox. I'll put a picture up, and some salvia. That's some beautiful pink salvia. So I added a cluster of 5 plants back there. Then we have the summerific hibiscus, which is a perennial in my area, and I'll put up a picture of that as well. And then over here we also added in 3 fall asters. I forget what the name is. I'll see if I can look it up and have it. And these are done blooming for the season. We also tucked in a rock rose right there. And then also back there, I've got a pink Turk's cap. So I do have an opening right here, which is actually a ton of daffodils. And then I do have the front area open as well, which I typically will put annuals right here. So let's talk about what my plan is. Okay, so I have some hardy annuals and some perennials I'm working into the ground. Now, these perennials, these fabulous looking ones over here are, I forgot the name, what's that? Foxglove. Foxglove Camelot mix. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have enough for like 2 big clusters of plants. These are perennial for me. Typically they're going to bloom in the spring and then bloom in the fall. They do need a little bit more shade and protection, especially during the hottest parts of our winter. So we've got those ready to go. Now these not so awesome looking plants over here are lupin, band of nobles, and mini mini dwarf mix as well. And what I'm hoping to do is do a cluster of these as well. They don't look like much now, but I'm hoping that if I get them planted now, that come spring, I'll actually have some of them work out. We'll see. I've tried to plant lupin or grow it from seed before many times, because if you buy the actual plant, it's very expensive. But these, and they don't like, they're not going to make it through my hot summers, right? So I want to grow them from seed because they'll bloom in the spring and then they're going to die, flat out die over the summer. And then I would have to restart. So that's one of the reasons I haven't bought like the actual plants, because they're not going to make it through my summer and they're a very expensive investment. So growing from seed. Now these looked a lot better earlier on, but they are suffering from spider mites. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim back some of the foliage that's the most damaged, because spider mites love damaged foliage. And I think having them outside in this cooler weather will help ward off some of the spider mites. These have been treated for spider mites before, and they did really well for a while, and then we got another round. So basically I'm wanting to do 2 clusters in that area of foxglove, 1 cluster of lupin. Now, after that, I'm really wanting to fill in the space with gorgeous, gorgeous pansies. And the focus of the pansies was this blues and purples and whites. And these are absolutely stunning. Let me give you guys a close-up. Yeah, these are absolutely beautiful. And I have a nice mix. I didn't get all the same. You can see this is one kind of palette. These are called blotch or block, which means they have the dark centers. These over here, I feel like they're clear something. I can't remember the absolute name, but I'll try to put it up there if I can remember it. These are a little bit more crystal clear colors as opposed to the blotch. But a really nice mix of blooms, all that have a, a different look, a different style and feel. And what I want to do is underplant all of these perennials with these across that front curve so that I have my beautiful color for the winter, but then I've gone ahead and I prepared for early spring to have some absolutely beautiful blooms from the perennials and the hardy annuals. So let's go ahead and get the perennials and hardy annuals in place, and then we will backfill with these absolutely gorgeous pansies. All right, I am going to start by adding compost to the space, just a thin layer, perhaps an inch or more, or a half an inch to an inch across the front. And since I've got a lot of existing plants in here, basically just going to take a handful of compost and kind of just shake it out like this around the space. I always love the look of fresh compost. So dark and pretty. But let's start doing some gatherings. So I think I'm going to start with a gathering of foxglove right here in this area. Okay, the key to this is kind of underplanting. So this salvia is going to grow up, but I do want the foxglove to grow up right here in this area. And I want them to be a cluster all together, not individual separate plants. I want it to look like one massive plant. Then I'm also leaving about 12 inches of space across this front area where I can add those annuals we were talking about. So let's go ahead and get these going. Now, I do have daffodil bulbs in the garden, and so I do need to make sure that if I dig anything up, that I put them right back where I got them. Soil feels so good. Tell you what, these foxglove really took off after I potted them up. Those look good. Now, in addition, I'm going to put these foxglove among these fall asters. Things to consider: come spring, these fall asters won't be very grown up. They'll be much bigger next year than they are currently this year. But they're going to be small at the beginning of the spring, which is when my foxglove are going to be larger. And so by the time my foxgloves start to die off, is when the asters are really going to take off. So this will be a really good mix to make sure I have beautiful color no matter what time of year. All right, that'll be a beautiful cluster of blooms as well. Now I think this is where I'm going to work in my next space. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this planter. You guys might remember I did this during the early spring. It was fabulous, and I used these branches as a trellis for the gladiolus bulbs that are put in here. And I do still have those gladiolus bulbs in here, and while this is still really pretty, I want to use this space for something else right now. And then let's pull out this entire container. Okay, so now we have this space open right here, and this is where I would like to focus a lot of all of the lupin here and some of the foxglove. Let's go ahead and treat this space with some additional compost. Okay, we have 5 of the foxglove left, so I think I'm going to do a cluster of 3 and 2 like that. And there are daffodils in this area as well too. Okay, so right here is a lupin, and this is Banda Noble. So this is a taller variety. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut off any foliage that looks like questionable or too far gone for damage, just so that the plant isn't focusing on keeping any of that alive. Okay, that looks better. And then let's go ahead and pull these out and see how many we ended up with. Oh my goodness, the root systems are insane. Look at that. Okay, so we end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 50%, which is not bad because my original planting was 12. Some of them are double, but I'm not going to be trying to pull them apart because these are some intense roots. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck them back in and among the foxglove back here. And since this is a little bit of the taller variety, I want it to be towards the back, and then we'll do the smaller variety of the lupin towards the front. And by staggering them and doing the taller at the back and at the front, we're just going to have a way like more thicker, beautiful, lush look to them. 2, 3. So it ended up with just 4 of the smaller ones. All right. Okay, so now we've got all of our base plants in. So basically we're layering in plants and color for the future. None of these plants are going to do anything for me now or through the winter. They are going to continue to grow on, but come spring is when they're really going to start producing a lot more greens and a lot more color. So I don't want my bed to be bare from color at this time of year. So I want to go ahead and start layering in the pansies that we talked about. Now I believe I have 5 flats, and I did pay a fair amount of money for those, $16.95 per flat at Homegrown Plants. That's some of the best pricing that I've seen. So I've been happy with those. And I grew a whole bunch of pansies and violas from seed. It was hard. It was a struggle. I did get those planted out about a week and a half ago, and they're doing brilliantly. I'll try to remember to take y'all by there at the end of the video. Take a look. I am going to go ahead and pull out some of these zinnias here. They are not in great shape because of the freeze, but I do want to continue my pansies and violas across this area. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this on. What do we got here? What are you? I'm going to go ahead and put this on fast forward so you guys do not have to see me plant every single pansy, because that's a lot. That was a lot of work. Have it going all the way around the side and trailing off. I did go a little deeper this way because I do have plans for some DIY Christmas decorations I'm going to be showing y'all for outside. And this front area is going to be where that is featured. And so I love the idea of the purple, white, and blue down below the Christmas decorations. I think it'll look really nice. And then of course we got our cluster of foxglove there. We have a cluster of foxglove here. And then over here we have 2 clusters of foxglove, one there, one there. Then we did our band of noble lupin and the dwarf variety up front. I think it looks really good. This looks really nice going into winter. Now, most of the perennials will turn brown and die back. The foxglove actually won't. I think it'll stay green most of the time. But all the pansies will do really, really well. I try not to stress about the pansies. They have enough time to grow on before our next major freeze. If we get some like really, really rough temps, in the past I've covered them up. You don't have to cover them up. The idea is that the roots underneath will continue to grow and live, and then the pansies will send up new shoots. So new shoots of flowers, new leaves. So don't stress if they get frostbitten, they'll be fine. Okay, that was a big project. I was thinking about splitting it up into 2, but I'm going to leave it as one video. But everything's looking really nice. You can see this is all my beautiful coleus. It's now been, gone to heaven with the latest frost. So that's a project I need to start cleaning up this side and this front corner of the front bed and planting some winter annuals in that place just to fill this in so it's nice and neat and pretty for the winter, which I'll really enjoy because I love decorating for Christmas outside in the front yard. Doing the Christmas porches are so fun, and I have some really cool stuff I'm doing this year that I've been working on. I'm very excited to show you all. But I hope you enjoyed today's video, seeing how I layered in some perennials and some hardy annuals along with winter annuals to provide color throughout multiple seasons, not just this winter. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know my latest videos are up, and be sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.